I was holding up two t-shirts, one classic red and blue, one jet black, with a sleek spider emblem, and my son was bouncing on the balls of his feet like the floor was a trampoline. Then a voice behind me cut the air clean in half. "Is that a company card? Because men like you don't buy this much without stealing." And just like that, our perfect Sunday turned into a storm. We were at Bright Kids Outfitters in Redfield cart stuffed with sneakers, jeans, a backpack my 7-year-old Noah swore made him run faster. I was still in my work shirt jacket in the car, trying to squeeze a little joy between deadlines, and I swear I could smell the fresh plastic and sugar from the candy display when I turned around and met her eyes. She had that pinched look of someone who's been collecting grievances like coupons. Deirdre Caldwell, later I'd learned the last name, sun-damaged smile, expensive sandals, a sweater the color of a traffic cone. And she pointed not at the pile of clothes, but at my face like I was a headline she'd already written. Noah slid behind my leg without a word. I put a hand on his head. "Steady, protect, breathe." "Ma'am," I said, calm as I could manage, "we're just getting school clothes." She stepped closer. "Floral, perfume, and vinegar." "I've been watching you," she said, making little air quotes around watching. "Men like you load up a cart, flash a card that isn't yours, and run." The kid associate Tyler, barely 19, hovered nearby with a folded pile of socks and panic in his eyes, and I could feel the other shoppers pretending not to stare. "Please leave us alone," I said, and I meant it. She smirked like she'd been waiting for that line. "Oh, he's getting aggressive," she announced to nobody and everybody. "Young man, call security." When Tyler froze, she dialed herself, thumb-stabbing 911 like a trigger. "Yes, I'm at Bright Kids," she told the dispatcher in a tremble that deserved an Oscar. "There's a large man threatening me. He has a child. I don't know if it's his. Please, hurry." My jaw clenched so hard I could feel the pulse there. I didn't move, didn't raise my voice, just held the black shirt in one hand and Noah with the other, but the story she built over that call moved like a match through dry grass. Mall security arrived first, two puffed-up uniforms with radios, and then the real police officers, Strickland and Morales. Strickland took one look at Deirdre's trembling finger and went straight to command presence. "Sir, hands where I can see them. Step away from the child." Noah's grip turned to iron. "He is my son," I said, voice flat as ice, and I didn't lift my hand from his head. The store manager, Mr. Patel, hustled over with corporate fear in his eyes, trying to usher me to the back office like he could tuck the whole mess behind a door. "I'm a customer," I said. "I'm staying right here." They asked for ID. I told them where my wallet was and moved slow, deliberate, like every second counted because it did. Morales checked it, brows lifting when my address and face lined up. Then Strickland took my card to verify. Swipe, beep, declined. Of course, it was 2 big purchases earlier had tripped my bank's fraud protection. Strickland's mouth curled. "Interesting," he said, holding up the slip like a trophy. Deirdre made a soft, satisfied noise. My stomach dropped, but I kept my voice steady. "It's a security hold. I'll clear it on speaker." While the cops traded glances, another voice cut in, a woman in a gym hoodie phone held high, steady as a tripod. "I've been recording for the last 8 minutes, she said. He was calm. She escalated. She glanced at Morales. "You can airdrop, but my phone doesn't leave my hand." That was Tessa, though I didn't know her name yet. I just knew the way breath returned to my body at the word recording. Morales watched the first minute, and you could see the shift, the shoulders, the jaw, like the room tilted toward the truth. Deirdre sputtered. "They're together." Tessa shook her head. "Never met him." I got the bank on the line, answered the questions, the hold vanished, and the receipt printed in a nice, neutral font. Morales came back with a measured apology. Strickland looked at his boots. Sir Morales said, "Do you want to press charges for harassment and filing a false report?" I looked at Noah, teary, hiccuping little breaths. The t-shirt still crumpled in my hand, and I said yes. Watching them turn toward her, watching the performance fall off her face, I didn't feel triumphant, just tired like someone who'd been holding a plank until the burn became the only thing he could feel. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. That night, a 30-second clip me saying, "That's enough," finger raised, Deirdre looking small and frightened, hit a local blog with the kind of caption that invites a dog pile. The comments were poison. I've been a senior architect long enough to know how fast reputation moves compared to truth, so when my managing partner, Clay Whitman, texted, "Come in at 8, I knew where that was headed. He had HR in the room, Elaine Cortez, and corporate language lined up like traffic cones, optics code of conduct, paid leave pending review. I told them the full story. Clay nodded, said he believed me, and still pushed the paper across the table. Perception is reality for our clients. I left the office with my keycard still warm and a howl sitting behind my sternum. My wife Lena doesn't do helpless. She called a PR fixer she knew Maya Russo faster than caffeine, and Maya said the quiet part out loud. "You lost control of the narrative. Let's take it back." Meanwhile, I hired a civil rights attorney, Jamal Price, who watched Tessa's full video, the one she sent the moment I asked, and said, "We're not just playing defense." A private investigator connected the nastiest dot. Deirdre's husband, Robert Caldwell, owned a construction firm that fed my firm millions a year projects I'd led. Suddenly, Clay's courage curdled into something like self-preservation. We handed Tessa's uncut video, not the rage bait, to a national reporter Maya trusted. When the segment ran, it was measured and devastating. The opening joy, the first barbed comment, my restraint, the lie-filled 911 call, the arrival of officers, the pivot when evidence entered the room. They named Deirdre. They named the client conflict. Clay appeared for a brisk no comment, and the silence sounded like guilt. The flood after was tidal messages from strangers, colleagues, old clients who said, "We saw you, what do you need?" The mall corporation called with apologies and promises, training policy changes, a donation. Jamal took a call from Deirdre's lawyer, all brittle politeness and desperation. "Settlement," he asked. "Start with a real apology," Jamal said. "Say her motives out loud, fund Noah's therapy, and write a number that hurts enough to teach." My firm tried to rewind history. Emergency meeting Clay, and Elaine resigned a public apology, a promotion for me if I returned. I stared at the email until the screen went dark and saw my reflection, the man who had stood in a children's store and dared to breathe. Then I wrote back, "Thank you, no." 2 colleagues and I opened a new practice in a brick and glass space with a second-hand conference table and a line of clients waiting at the door because of not, despite what they'd seen. The morning of Deirdre's deposition, her team pushed for a settlement conference. We sat across a polished table. Jamal slid the agreement forward, the therapy fund, the dollar amount, and a written apology with the words that matter, false, malicious, motivated by prejudice. Her lawyer balked. Jamal stood slow as a sunrise. "Great," he said. "Let's put her under oath." First question, quote, the death threat she swore she heard. Deirdre's husband leaned in, jaw tight. "Sign it," he hissed, not at us, at her. She signed. I didn't celebrate. I exhaled. Months passed. We built something honest, late nights, sketching elevations that looked like second chances, dinner with my family, soccer sidelines, the hum of a life that fits. Noah stopped waking in the middle of the night. A box arrived from a toy company with a note that said, "Inside every kid is a hero." P.S. The black suit is the coolest, and he tore around the living room firing imaginary webs until he collapsed, laughing. We went back to Bright Kids. One day, new manager, new staff training badges still pinned awkwardly, and a young employee I'd never met said, "Thanks for not backing down. It's better here now." I stood there with Noah's hand in mine and felt something like closure settle in my ribs. There's one more scene because life loves epilogues. A few months later in a coffee shop, a tired man with careful hands approached my table. "I'm Robert," he said quietly. "I should have stopped her. I didn't." I looked at him and didn't feel heat, just a cool sadness at the cost of cowardice. "I hope you find some peace," I said, and he nodded like it hurt. "People ask if I won. Depends on your scoreboard." I walk my son to school and he squeezes my hand at the crosswalk and tells me he's going to be a designer of spaces with secret hideouts, and I think, yeah, we did all right. Truth isn't loud until it has to be. Then it knocks the paint off the walls. If you were in that store, security manager, bystander, what would you have done differently? Was the firm right to worry about optics or wrong to abandon their own? Tell me where you land on accountability versus reputation, and whether you've ever had to take your story back from someone else. Drop your take below and share this with the one person who needs to hear it.